Hello, I'm an avatar and I really love animals. Crazy, right? But stick with me because this video is a must-watch. You must have heard about that vegan teacher. 1.7 million followers, featured on every major news channel, and probably the most viral vegan activist in history. But I think her approach to animal rights actually made things worse for animals. So here's what I understand from the research. Picture this: a celebrity chef who isn't vegan. She made him a little ukulele song asking him to stop hurting animals. Sweet idea, right? His response? He filmed himself nodding along to the song whilst eating a massive burger. The caption said, "Beef burgers were consumed while making this TikTok." It got millions of views and thousands of comments saying things like, "I wasn't even hungry, but now I want a burger." And that's the whole issue in one video. Basically, don't tell people what to do. It really annoys them. Let me ask you, would it annoy you? Comment below. And here's what's fascinating. There's actually a psychological reason why her approach was doomed from the start. One simple concept that explains everything. I'll tell you what it is in a bit, but once you understand it, you'll never look at vegan activism the same way again. And here's what makes me sad. I believe she genuinely loves animals. In fact, she used to be a nurse for 25 years, then a teacher for 9 years. She spent her whole life caring for others. And when she went vegan later in life, it absolutely broke her heart because she couldn't unsee the horror she saw in her research. She was understandably outraged and really upset, and obviously wanted to stop the cruelty by telling people how horrible it was. Now, I don't want you to think this is an attack on her. I genuinely believe she has a good heart, and she took this course of action in good faith. What I am questioning is her methods, and if it actually reduced animal cruelty. Anyway, back to the story. So she grabbed a ukulele and started making videos on TikTok having a go at non-vegans, basically saying, if you eat meat, you're an animal abuser. Well, it backfired spectacularly. Here's what happened, and this is where things got completely out of hand. She'd make a video having a go at people, calling them an animal abuser. They'd obviously get defensive and make a response video, then her original video would go even more viral. So what did she do then? She'd make an even more aggressive video. Round and round it went, louder and louder, until the content escalated to comparing eating chicken nuggets to the awful events in the Second World War. Then she started singing songs comparing social issues with cows, and it eventually became totally ridiculous. This brings me to the year 2021, when TikTok finally kicked her off their platform. 1.7 million followers gone overnight. 26,000 people had signed a petition demanding her removal, and the platform finally acted. Doesn't that illustrate to you how many people were angry? So she moved over to YouTube, but the viewer numbers never come back in the same volume. Speaking of viewer reach though, here's the question nobody's asking. In those peak years, when nearly 2 million people were watching her content, did it actually help animals? Or did her way of doing things make everything more difficult for the vegan message? I've looked at the data, and the answer might surprise you. While I'm at it, please make sure you hit that like button. And if you want more non-preachy videos about how brilliant veganism is for us normal people, please hit the subscribe button as well. The reason I'm here is to do my best to stop animal cruelty. So here's the acid test. Did meat sales go down because of that vegan teacher? Nope. According to what I've seen, they didn't change at all. And here's the thing. The highly respected veganuary movement has been growing every single year since 2014. Their growth trajectory was already continuing upwards even before that vegan teacher burst onto the scene. Her viral content didn't create this growth, it was growing in the background anyway. The key takeaway is, the veganuary campaign had a bigger effect on promoting the vegan and cruelty-free lifestyle. The veganuary campaign, with its calm, positive, just try it for a month messaging, was already bringing new people in. On the other hand, that vegan teacher's way of doing things just reinforced everyone's idea of the angry vegan stereotype. How is that helping animals? Now think about the fallout from this madness. Every one of those people probably told their friends, showed them her videos, and said, "Look at this aggressive, preachy vegan." And now, in thousands of conversations across the country, veganism equals confrontational, preachy vegans. But that's not even the hardest part for the movement. The hardest part is the effect it's had on other vegan activists. All those fantastic people doing calm, evidence-based activism had to start dealing with fallout. people were listening to conversations already in defensive mode because they'd seen her viral content. Wow, her way of doing things seemed to create an immediate barrier that effective activists now have to get past before they can even start the real conversation about animals. And for what? What did the animals actually gain from all this hoo-ha? Let me explain why I think that Vegan Teacher's way of doing things was doomed from the start, using one simple concept that will make everything click into place. It's a psychological response called reactance, and it's why teenagers slam doors when you tell them what to do, and why people buy petrol cars the second you mention climate change. Here's how it works. When someone tells you what you must do, especially in an aggressive way, your brain goes into rebellion mode. You don't care if they're right anymore. All you care about is that they're trying to control you. So you do the opposite, just to prove you still have control over your own choices. Anti-smoking campaigns learned this the hard way. When you shame people for smoking, some people will light up another cigarette purely out of spite. Not because they want it, but because the messaging wound them up and they're effectively saying, "You can't tell me what to do." That's exactly what her approach did with most of her videos. "You must go vegan. You're an animal abuser if you don't." And people's automatic reactions were, "Oh yeah, watch this." And then they order a massive steak. The method triggered the exact opposite response to what she wanted. And this gets even worse when you realize that the more it didn't work, the louder the content became, and it just made it work even less. It's a textbook example of how doing more of what doesn't work just creates more failure. It's crazy. Before I tell you my final verdict, drop in the comments right now whether you think this was good or bad for the animals. I want to see if you agree with where I'm going. Right. So now you understand the crucial importance of reactance theory. Here's how you can actually use this knowledge to your advantage. Next time someone asks about your veganism, try this. Don't say "you should go vegan" or "meat is murder." Instead, ask them questions. Have you ever thought about where your food comes from? Or did you know pigs are smarter than dogs? You're not telling them what to do, you're just making them curious. Their brain stays open instead of slamming shut in rebellion mode. And when someone laughs at you for being vegan, don't defend yourself aggressively. Just say something like, "Yeah, I just didn't like what I learned about factory farming, so I changed." Or, "Yeah, I did it for health reasons. Gotta look after the old ticker, you know." This way you've been smart and stated your position without triggering their reactance. They might even ask you more about it. See how understanding this one psychological principle gives you actual power in these conversations? Let me show you the contrast with someone who's actually changing minds. The highly respected Earthling Ed has proper conversations with people who stop. His entire approach is built on questions. Do you think animals can suffer? Do you think animal cruelty is wrong? Do you eat animals? How do you square those three things? He's not calling anyone names, he's not winding anybody up, he's just asking questions and letting people work through the logic themselves. And you know what happens? Some people actually change their minds. They walk away thinking, some go vegan that day, others plant a seed that grows sometime in the future. But even the ones who don't change there and then still respect him. They might not go vegan immediately, but they don't leave wanting to eat meat out of spite. That's the difference. That's what effective activism looks like. Or look at all the vegan food creators making incredible-looking meals on social media. They're not preaching. They're not calling anyone an abuser. They're just making you think, "Oh, that looks really good. Maybe I'll try that." That sort of activism opened up more minds rather than confrontational songs having a go at people ever could. Right, here's something actually useful that you can take away from this. A way to judge any activism, whether it's veganism, climate change, or whatever. These three questions will tell you if what you're doing is helping or hurting your cause. Question 1. Does this actually reduce the harm we're trying to stop? Or does it just make us feel better about doing something? Because those are different things. Confrontational content might make activists feel like they're actually taking action by not staying silent, but if it makes people more resistant to the message, then it's serving the activists' feelings, not the cause. Question 2. Is this changing minds or just preaching to people who already agree? If your activism gets praised by other activists and mocked by everyone else, you're not achieving anything. You're just building higher walls around it. Question 3, and this is the honest one, is this actually designed for the outcome, or is it about how the activist looks? Because sometimes activism becomes about being seen as the fearless truth teller, more than actually creating change. And that feels really good in the moment, but it doesn't help animals. I think that vegan teacher's approach failed all three of these tests. Her method made people more defensive, not less. It got praised by vegans and mocked by everyone else. And because the internet is the way it is, it became more about her rather than about reducing animal suffering. So, was her approach good or bad for veganism? The strategy definitely proved that vegan content could go viral. It showed you could get mainstream attention and put the word vegan in front of millions of people who may have never heard it before. But here's what her approach actually did when you look at the outcomes. It reinforced the stereotype. It became the meme, the punchline, the example people used to dismiss veganism without even thinking about the actual arguments. Oh, you're vegan. You're not going to be aggressive like those videos, are you? That question has probably shut down more conversations about animal welfare than anything else in the last 5 years. Her method gave critics ammunition they're still using today. It's quite likely made every single person trying to have a calm, rational conversation about animals work twice as hard, just to get past the stereotype she reinforced. So here's my answer. I don't think she's been good for the animals. Not because her intentions were wrong. I really believe they were heartfelt. She really does love animals passionately and tries her best to help them. But realistically, impact matters more than intentions. This is a perfect case study in how passion without effective strategy can hurt the very cause you're fighting for. It shows how caring so deeply about something that you can't even think strategically about how you go about it can push people away instead of bringing them closer. And here's the lesson that actually matters for anyone watching this. You don't need to be extreme to help animals. You don't need to shout at celebrities or make inflammatory comparisons. Sometimes the quiet person making amazing vegan food, or the calm activist asking questions, or the person just living their life as an inspiring example, changes more minds than all the confrontational songs in the world. And here's the bit that keeps me thinking about this whole situation. From her perspective, she probably saw the ban as censorship, like she was getting silenced for speaking up for animals. But the reality is her account got banned because her content broke the rules around harassment and hate speech. And there's a massive difference between telling uncomfortable truths and using methods that have a go at people personally. You can say your choices contribute to animal suffering. That's a fact that opens a conversation. Or you can call someone an animal abuser, which shuts the conversation down before it even starts, and animals pay the price for your bull in a china shop approach. So yeah, that's my take. She loves animals, wanted desperately to help them, but the methods she chose made everything harder for veganism. So, what do you think? Am I wrong? Do you see it differently? Drop your honest thoughts below because I'm genuinely curious about other people's perspectives. By the way, I'm doing my own bit to help the animals, and I've made an online vegan shopping centre to help everyone to live a better way. My website is called Vegan Supermarket UK. The link is in the description. Just so you know, I may earn a small commission if you buy something, but it doesn't cost you any extra. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you want more videos on living cruelty-free, please hit subscribe and I'll see you in the next video. Just to be clear, I'm an animal lover who uses AI to help research and fight against animal cruelty, but every word here comes from my genuine passion for helping people to live without causing animal cruelty.